I was recently surfing the information superhighway and came across the Ember Temperature Controlled ceramic mug. Now, the thing that really caught my attention about this is that it's a mug that's compatible with iOS or Android, a flipping smart mug. What better could sum up the here and now than a connected mug, one that costs £55. Now, when I checked the price of this on Amazon, they wanted 80 quid, so that £55 seemed like a bit of a bargain. It turns out there's a newer, more expensive version too out that has a longer battery life that costs £100, and then there's a travel mug that's £112, which was also quite a bit cheaper at Costco. But being the curious sort, I actually went ahead and ordered the cheapest one from Costco just to see how a smart mug could improve my life. Now, this first gen version, the rechargeable battery in it lasts about an hour, whereas the more recent one, that goes for an hour and a half, but I'm sure the cheaper one will be enough for me to formulate an opinion as to the merits or otherwise of a temperature control mug. Inside the box is a pretty normal looking ceramic mug. As you can see from the picture, it holds 295 millilitres and all the techie stuff must be contained in the base. So the first thing I do is nearly drop it. But after narrowly avoiding that, yeah, it's a ceramic mug. Well, the top half is the handle and all the rest of it. The bottom half is plastic. It's got a rubberized base on there. There's a sticker on that base that tells you not to microwave it. Obviously, there's a battery and all sorts of electronic bits in there. Now, there are 2 pins on the plastic saucer, and those connect with the metal rings that are on the base of the mug, and that's how it charges up. Now, inside the bottom of the box, there are some Ember stickers. I'm pretty sure there isn't one person on the planet who wants an Ember sticker, but it's in here along with the instructions and the charger. In total, there are 3 different plug attachments that can go onto that charger. Of course, it's multi-voltage. The output is 19 volts, 2.1 amps, and the other end of the wire is terminated in a barrel plug, and that's what plugs into the saucer. And by the way, both that saucer and the mug have really grippy rubberized bases. Once that power adapter's plugged in and the mug's put on the charging base, there's a red light inside the bottom of the mug that pulses. And once the mug is fully charged up, that light turns green. Now, as far as this 1 hour battery life goes, you've got to reduce that to somewhere closer to 45 minutes if you crank the temperature up to its maximum. But now this is where it gets fun. I've downloaded the app and I'm connecting the mug to the phone via Bluetooth, and I have to create an account. Yeah, an account for a mug. But it gets better from here. There's that big privacy policy to scroll through, and of course I read all that very carefully before I clicked OK. But there's one thing that I was really crossing my fingers for, and that was a firmware update. I decided if I had to do a firmware update on a mug, that 2021 couldn't get any better. And sure enough, here it is. Now, sometimes people think I don't get this stuff, that I'm blind to how crazy things have become with tech. But trust me, I get it. I'm applying a firmware update to a flipping mug. That's the 21st century in a nutshell right here. But to make this even better, this firmware update wouldn't apply. I mean, I was in danger of turning my mug into a brick. You've got to understand I'm loving this. This is just brilliant. But to try and get this to work, I rearranged the mug and the phone in various risque positions, but ultimately swapping over to my iPad finally got that new firmware to stick. Your mug is up to date. I should get that printed on a t-shirt. Okay, now this is an espresso machine. According to these, they're making the drinks at the right temperature. The thing is, it's all right when it comes straight out of the machine, but a couple of minutes later, it's already gone too cold for what I like to drink. This is where a mug like this could come in handy. So let's just make a coffee in this. Just put a capsule in the top. You'll see when the cup starts filling up, it should register on here and it'll tell you what the temperature is of the coffee that's filled it up. Okay, well, it starts off at 61-ish. I think it's still going up a tiny bit, but that's irrelevant to me because I like to put a little bit of milk in the top, not too much. I've just realised I haven't got a spoon in here, so I'm going to have to stir it with a Sharpie, but that will soon bring the temperature down, just that little tiny bit there. And now, just with that little bit of milk in, that's not really the temperature I like to drink coffee at. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn the heater on, and I'm going to put it onto my choice of temperature, if I can press the right button, which is flipping hot, I've called it. I've made my own custom one, and I've set it to 60. So now this cup is going to start heating up and it'll bring the temperature up towards 60. At least that's the idea. I could do with a stopwatch here to see how long this takes. Now, I was a few seconds late in starting the stopwatch, but around about 3 minutes 30 or so, it clicked over to show 57 degrees on here. So by now, that's a perfectly acceptable temperature to drink a coffee at for most people, but for me, it's still increasing it up a little bit because I just like my coffee a bit hotter. Okay, we've reached 60 there, so just over 5 minutes or so. That's the kind of temperature where I like to drink my coffee. Yeah, perfect for me. Now, the thing with that is, you could say, well, you could just stick your normal coffee in a microwave, warm it up. You can at the beginning. And then what do? You go back again and microwave it again and keep doing that throughout your cup? Because, yeah, the first cup I drink, that's pretty quick. Usually in the morning, I'll gulp that one down. The second one, I like to savour it a bit more. Over the space of perhaps half an hour, I'll just keep taking sips at it. But at a certain point, it normally goes too cold. Well, not with this. It's holding it at 60 degrees for the next hour or so. And if you put your coffee on the base, well, it'll hold that temperature all day long, although I'm not too sure whether I'd want to drink a coffee after a few hours on here, but still, it'll do it. Now, if you were planning on just keeping your drink in one position, maybe one of these heated coaster type things would be sufficient. These have been around for years, but I just wanted to mention that, yes, I do know they exist, and I know that you know they exist, and now you know that I know they exist. It's not the thing I'm reviewing today, but just putting it out there as an option. Anyway, let's get back to the thing that I am looking at. Okay, let's quickly go through the features of this application. So we can click on the mug here, and at the moment the mug is empty. We'll go on the settings first off, just to show you what's in there. In personalise, I can adjust the colour of the LED which will be displayed on the mug whenever it's moved. You can see that here, that pink that I've set up at the moment. That's so you can identify your mug if it was in a location with a number of other ones, because of course they're all white mugs. Now, you can adjust the brightness of that LED here, and it's showing the current battery level, the temperature units are there, and you can switch on the notifications or switch them off here. I'll show you what the notifications are that come through to your phone later on. Now, from this screen here, if it was full of liquid, I could adjust the temperature at the bottom. At the moment, it's set to heater off. The minimum temperature you can get it to maintain is 50, and the maximum is 62.5. So you can set it like that. There's also an app available for the Apple Watch, which just has this section here, so you can adjust the temperature from your watch. And if we just move up, we can see on this screen here, we've got preset temperatures, and you can overwrite these and call them what you want, which is why I've got this one here that says flipping hot at 60 degrees on the left. And then this bottom section, that's just a timer. It doesn't have any interaction with the mug itself. It's just a straightforward timer, so you know when to take your tea bags out and things. But this whole application does seem a little bit superfluous in a way, because, well, first off, once you've set your temperature for something, for example, I've set my 60 degrees here, it'll remember that, and I don't need to get the app out, I don't need to sync the mug up with the phone. I could be in a completely different location, but whenever I switch my mug on, it will bring it up to 60 degrees, and it will remember that until you tell it a different temperature to remember in the future. So it'd be easy if they were just to have some control on the mug itself, where you could adjust the temperature on the mug and you don't need this application here. And indeed, that's what they have on the travel mug, but just not on this ceramic one. And here are those notifications that I mentioned, but you really don't need these. You could switch your phone off and you'll be fine, because the first one just tells you when the drink has reached the temperature that you've set, and then the second one tells you when the mug needs recharging. But since the battery only lasts an hour anyway, it's more than likely you'll just keep the mug on its charging station when you're not using it. Right, okay, let's sum this one up. Well, as you saw initially, I went into this quite sceptical. It has, in a way, won me over. I'm not going to, for a minute, suggest that anyone really needs one of these. But as far as it doing what it set out to do, which is to bring your drinks up to a temperature of your choosing and maintaining that temperature, well, it does that, so I can't complain. It is, however, quite expensive, and if you were to drop it and break it, well, with a normal mug, not such a big deal, but when your mug costs between £55 and £100, it's a little bit more serious. In addition to that, it's one more thing to regularly charge and plug in, and I think we've all got enough of those. And also, when it comes to washing up, well, you can't stick it in a dishwasher. You're not even supposed to fully submerge it if you're hand washing. The version 2, you can do that, but not with this one. Although, I've got to say, I mean, it has done something for me with that coffee machine, because I was never happy with the temperature of the coffee that came out of it. In fact, I even went as far as buying double wall glasses and things to try and maintain the temperature a little bit longer, but of course the drinks came out of it too cold to start with, so I was microwaving them and all that kind of stuff. Well, this solves that problem for me. Not a massive problem that really needed solving, but I'm happy that this has done it. And now I've got it, I'm going to keep using it. I think this is perhaps more the kind of thing that you might give to someone as a gift rather than buying for yourself. And if you were to do that, at the moment in the UK, it seems like Costco has them at the lowest prices. That's Costco online rather than in the stores. Although if you're not a Costco member, I'm sure you can do a bit of shopping around and you might find it cheaper than the RRP, which I'm going to say is a little bit high for what it does. So I wouldn't recommend paying full price. But anyway, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.